Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Eunice Shalom in case you're seeing me for the very first time. So without further ado, there's something trending currently on social media, especially on TikTok, particularly on TikTok, and it is this Kenyan lady that has gone on raving and raving on the street of TikTok. In fact, all Americans, especially Black Americans, they are under our comment section. Some are hailing her, some are just tearing her apart. There's a lot of things that she has been saying, and the funniest thing about this thing is she's well spoken. She's not an illiterate for her to be spewing out such a thing about America. You cannot, if you listen to her, you cannot help but wonder that has America done something to this girl? Is there something that went wrong? Did she have maybe a relative in America, maybe that died or something? Because if you see the amount of what she was saying, her experiences, the way she was talking about it, even people at one point just kind of just fold their hands and like this. The reason why I'm even bringing her to my channel is because she's Kenyan. I was like, I have some Kenyan videos that is this how Kenyans see America? Is this how Kenyans behave to Americans? Like, I know there is lot of tourism centers in Kenya that even Americans used to troop in for tourism in America. And I'm like, why is this girl behaving? Why is this like, without further ado, let me just play the first clip for you. She did three videos uploaded on her I don't know what they call TikTok page, and the first one was so vile, the second one was viler, the third one was the vilest. In fact, and she's still ongoing. Oh, she's still at it. I was, hey, let me play the first one for you that even started the whole thing in the first place.
So Black Americans think that they are better than African people, and this is essentially my understanding from the thousands of comments that they have sent because they didn't like the fact that I, an African, call them colonizers. You know, at first I thought that the word might actually be harsh, but they themselves provided in writing the proof that that was the perfect word. The one thing that they've kept on reiterating is the fact that we don't think about you Africans, but we're always thinking about us Black Americans, and this is because they inherently believe that they are superior to African people. That's why they don't have to think about the struggles of African people in Africa, because why would you care about someone you consider to be inferior to you? They continue to reiterate this when they talk about, why don't you focus on the colonization that is happening in your own country, on the oppression that you're facing in your own countries, doubling down, talking about how Africans are weak. And it really makes me wonder, because all these issues they're bringing up, they're actually a function of systemic colonization. But I don't understand why you want to blame Africans for systemic colonization, and yet in your own American country you're able to understand that Black people are not responsible for systemic racism, rather they're victims of it. And when you talk about how we should just focus on trying to put our countries right, that is exactly what we have been doing. But of course, because you don't care about African people and our struggles, you wouldn't know that. You don't even care to know how you're benefiting from what your government is doing to African countries, especially when it comes to Black Americans who live with this victim mentality, and they think that the entire world should give apology to them for what they've been through, to a point that even in the comments you're still blaming African people for selling you. But if you paid attention to African history, you would know that African people didn't sell their own people because they were dancing and they were like, oh my god, we're selling our own people, this is such an amazing thing. If you read How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney, who is a Caribbean scholar, you wouldn't be saying that to African people. You would know that that is very much a wound to African people, but you don't care, because the only pain that matters to you is your pain, and yet you think you're not a colonizer. This really makes me understand why efforts to actually bring Black people all over the world together under the Pan-Africanism umbrella has never really worked, and it's never really going to work, because Black Americans think that they are better than all other segments of Black people all over the world. They think that they are in the top of the hierarchy, and this means that you can't really create community with people who think like this, because they think that your struggles are inferior.
Hey, oh my god, oh my god, I told you that it's three videos. She started with that Black Americans are colonizers themselves. They are colonizers and they see themselves as superior to Africans in Africa, the Blacks in Africa, that they don't really care about what happened on continental Africa, that because they consider them as inferior. That why would you care about something that is inferior to you? Please leave all your thoughts down in the comment section, because she's Kalenji because of the way the shirt she wore. I am very, very sure that she's Kenyan. Why will a person think like this? Of course, there are some people that are like what she said, but majority of Black Americans, some don't even know where their root is. Some even had to take this DNA ancestry, this 23andMe ancestry, this thing, just to trace their roots in Africa, to know where in particular they are from. If they don't care, something like that will not rise up. If they don't care, there's this term called Pan-Africanism will not rise up. Even other things, like some major Black Americans, they come all over to even to Africa to come and establish businesses and stuff like that. And with the Maya's channel, is he has so many Black American audience, so many American audience, because of the way he was promoting Africa and the way that he wanted to change the narrative. She was not even having it, because people were now like, why will you be talking like this? Under this particular video, people were like, that's not true. Some Black American will be like, yeah, and so what? We are Americans now. In fact, I'm not African American, I'm American. Some are saying it's not true. I value the African heritage and stuff like that. Please, if you're an African, if you're Black American, leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Do you support what she's saying, that you have already distanced yourself from the continental Africa, or you still see yourself as part of Africans? So someone now left a comment on our comment section of this first video, and she responded it more vilely. Like, I don't even know how to say the English. This time around, she let loose her hair, and she was just raving and raving and raving. She said, this magical sand batters talk about us just to get views. They all do the same thing and stay flocking to America, but we are the colonizers. Girl, bye. Well, let's see our response.
How dare you, poor African? How dare you talk about me, an American? I'm just existing in my world, and you are there just talking about me. I am an American. I don't make any mistakes.
This is really personal for
anything
her.
that I do or say causes pain to you, I do not care, because you should be thanking me. You should be bowing for me. You should be worshiping my feet, because you are a poor African. I am an American. I vote in a government that is going to ensure that you remain a poor African. I vote in for leaders that call Africa an asshole country.
So
and I come to social media
and
I remind you, you come from an asshole country. You are a poor African. How dare you talk about me? How dare you? I am an American. I am going to buy 100 pieces of fast fashion clothing. I'm going to wear ones, because I know they're gonna end up in your backyard, in the landfills of your African country, because you're poor. I don't care about how my actions have an effect on you. You come from a third world country. I mean, you want to be me after all. My government makes a lot of money from denying you visas, because you literally want to come to my country after my government, the government that I voted in, ensures that you remain poor. I am an American. At 30 years old, I can't read to save my life. I don't even have media literacy skills. I don't even know how to listen. I don't know what comprehension is. So of course, you, an African, must be uneducated, because you cannot be better than me.
Oh my God. If this is not something else, I don't know what is. This is getting out of hand at this point. And people are literally just scared in the comment section of her face. Like, even me that I'm African, I'm in Africa, I think like this. I don't think like this. Like, she's really taking it personal because of the way Black Americans used to behave, African Americans used to behave. And I'm still of the opinion that not everybody behaves like this. Not everybody behaves like this. This person said Black Americans made Tyler just because yeah or couldn't. That's a Black American. And some are even rejecting her that she's not African.
Sometimes I think about how a lot of Black Americans can low-key be colonizers.
Hey,
you know how a lot of Americans like to be in the spotlight. They always want to be at the center of the story. A lot of Black Americans are actually like that when it comes to African stories. They're not interested in Africa unless they're at the center of it. Good example is Woman King. There's also Black Panther, which had the backdrop of Africa, but they didn't even have a premiere event in at least 10 African countries. And no, don't tell me about the one or two African actors in these movies, because it's giving I have a Black friend. Also seen a couple of Black Americans traveling from America to African countries to have their hair done because it's cheap. It's giving cheap labor. Who else did that? There's also the passport bros who are like, oh my god, I should just go get a wife in Africa because they're easier to oppress and they
You
don't have
don't have it.
rights. Lately, there has been a huge number of Black Americans doing a lot of investments in African countries, especially real estate. But the problem
You
is,
see a problem with that one
they're
too?
coming and they want to change everything. They're like,
Says
yo, the
who?
architecture that you have in these African countries, not our vibe. We're just gonna
Kenyans,
bring that American
call your
aesthetic. You're
girl
just
to order. Please
gentrifying
go
a
under
lot
the
of
comment
African countries, but you
section of
don't
this
care about that,
video
right?
and
As
just
long as you
assure
get the
her
money in
that
your
it's not
pocket.
this deep. It's not this deep because every of the points she's making that I already made, that some are even coming to check to check the Africa, to check to invest in real estate, to just explore tourism and stuff like that. She's literally just countering every single point that they are complaining about the architecture of Kenya, that even if they say they want to make a movie about Africa, like Woman King, like Black Panther, they didn't even have premiere up to 10 countries in Africa. And I'm like, girl, she's just like, for someone to make a video about Woman King, that means he must have read about it. The thing interest the producer or the writer or the person that just sponsored the movie inspired, or she's inspired by such a historical fundamental or phenomenon. So she just tried to replicate it to just show that something like this happened in Africa. In as much as I tried to understand her, some of the words that she was saying, they are true, but most of it are being spoken not out of correctional love, but out of deep rooted, maybe vile hatred for Black Americans, to the extent of even calling them colonizers. I think that's to the extreme. In as much as some Black Americans, they see themselves as maybe superior or something. Some don't even have interest in Africa, but majority have interest in where they are coming from, their ancestry, their ancestors, the country, how the country is doing, a whole lot of things. And please leave all your comments down in the comment section, and see you in my next video. I need to go wash my face or clean my ears or something.